A very pleasant, a very good evening, and a very warm welcome to the Black Hole. First, some painful, shocking statistics coming from the World Bank. Around 700 billion rupees are wasted in project cost overruns, and nearly 500 billion rupees are lost to procurement related corruption in the country. Let that sink in. Today, we are going to learn about the issues and challenges that hurdle, that plague project planning, design, execution, and completion in Pakistan. और इस मौजू पर गुफ्तगू करने के लिए उन्मान आप मेरी पुश्त पे देख सकते हैं, वाई प्रोजेक्ट्स फेल इन पाकिस्तान, चैलेंजेस, कॉजेज एंड सॉल्यूशंस। दाएं जाने मेरे तशरीफ़ फरमाया आज के हमारे स्पीकर शाहिद सुमरो साहब। A brief introduction of him. He's a member of the 29th Common Inland Revenue Service. Currently, he is serving as Chief Projects at the Federal Board of Revenue headquarters in Islamabad. Shahid Soomro is an Australia Award and Chevening Scholar, having earned a Master's in Project Management from RMIT University, Melbourne, Australia, and a Professional Diploma in Strategic Management of Projects from University College, London. With 20 years of experience in project and procurement management, Shahid brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to his role, making significant contributions to the field. और आज की टॉक में ये एक और कंट्रीब्यूशन दे रही हैं और वो ये है कि he will help us understand the complexities and hurdles in successful project management and how we can strive for better practices and outcomes. आप सब लोगों की आमद का शुक्रिया. Please do us a favor and turn your cell phones to silent mode so that there is no distraction. आप भी इस गुफ्तगू में ज़रूर शरीक होइएगा. Just raise your hand first so that this microphone is given to you. बस यही हैं दो तीन बातें. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shahid Soomro. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nayyar. Initially, I thought that you were introducing someone else, but then I realized that it's me. Thank you so much. Can we have a presentation, please? आप में से कोई project related, कोई PMP, कोई project manager, you. So हम इस तरह शुरू करेंगे कि मैंने अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन जो है उसमें कोशिश की है कि आपको इनिशियल जो बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट के कॉन्सेप्ट है वो भी बताऊं, और इसके अलावा एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट अभी हमने शुरू किया है, दैट इज पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप इन पाकिस्तान. एंड रिसेंटली वी हैव एस्टेब्लिश्ड पब्लिक पार्टनरशिप अथॉरिटी. So it's a regulatory body, and since our PSDP is shrinking with every passing year, so the public-private partnership projects are the future. So let's start. As Nayyar stated some shocking figures, and there are much more than that. In fact, I have taken a lenient figures. So governments today spend an estimated 13 trillion US dollars in procuring goods and services and in public works. And as much as quarter 3.25 trillion of that is vested in inefficient or short-sighted procurement practices. That is the World Bank 2022 report. And then we have United Nations report. It says that every year in public procurement, an estimated US $1 trillion is paid in bribes and $2.6 trillion is stolen through corruption. If those who know the IT industry, perhaps it is equivalent to the entire IT industries in the world, that is around 13 trillion USD each year. And then if there is a vestige of 3.25 trillion, then you can imagine that how big and how whopping amount we are vesting in inefficient and procurement-related corruption. And then we have OECD Foreign Bribery Report 2014. It says that almost half of bribery cases that occur in the world in the procurement contracts, they are in developing countries. Of course, the Pakistan is included. Next, please. Well, we have some figures for the Pakistan. Transparency International, in its report in 2023, there is a large-scale corruption in procurement and contracting affecting government and development aid funded programs, public works in Pakistan. And a special audit of the Directorate of Municipal Administration has unearthed massive irregularities and corruption in several mega projects. That is reported by the Dawn on March 31st, 2022. The Auditor General of Pakistan, we all know that it's a champion of accountability, and it is entrusted with the responsibility to find out where the irregularities are committed. So it says that almost 4.7 billion irregularities, vestiges, unauthorized payments, misappropriation have been found in the Bus Rapid Transit BRT project, Peshawar. And on the top of that, we have ADB report that I missed here. It says that almost all the indicators that were fixed for the project, for the BRT Peshawar, they were grossly violated, and almost all the timelines that were agreed at the time of initiating the project were missed. So, next please. This is what we are experiencing in Pakistan. This is the kind of project management that the one who is, so almost the same situation in procurement related area. Why? Because procurement is an alien subject for us. I don't know that why, when there is a management in every sphere of life, it becomes alien for us. Perhaps we are not prone, we are not interested in managing the things. Next, please. So all these things, when there is a mismanagement, there is a irregularities, there is a corruption, and when there is something that can destroy the project, this happens. 11 died from gas leak in coal mine near Quetta, and it's just a day before news. So we can understand that what happens when something is not managed properly. Next, please. So what is the project? I have tried to give you a simplest definition of the project. A project is a set of tasks that must be completed within a defined timeline to accomplish a specific set of goals. Means we need, if we are terming something as a project, then it should have a definite beginning and a definite end. And if it gives you a unique product and unique results, then it becomes project. Next, please. So this is the brief history of the project management. Project management has been practicing since long, rather thousands of years before, right? But when it get the status of academic discipline, basically it started in 1916 when Henry Fayol, he introduced 5 functions of manager, that is to plan, to organize, to coordinate, to control, and to direct or command. And then Mr. Morris, project management comes from the chemical industry just prior to World War II. Snyder and Clint in 1987, they come up with the notion that project modern project management era started 1958 with the development of critical path method and a diagram called PERT. Kerzner says that project management basically started in 1998, and it is an outgrowth of systems management. Next, please. This is the magic triangle. Every project that conforms to time, scope, and budget, it is termed as a successful project. But when it goes beyond that triangle, then it becomes failed. So if a project is started in 2000 and its completion date is 2001, and its estimated cost is 1 billion. So if it could not achieve these two things and it goes beyond 2001 and it is completed in 2005, then the project is gone. Next, please. So this is what the umbrella of project management. You know that in an organization, when we say something that there should be a series of programs that can help us to achieve our desired results, we call it portfolio management because it contains several programs. And then we have program management. Program management is a group of projects that are similar or related to one another and which are often managed and coordinated as a group instead of independently. And finally, when we have more than one projects in program, then we have project management. So it's a quality deliverables, delivery of product or service, scope, cost, schedule. So ultimately, when we achieve the project, it helps us to achieve the program management and finally the portfolio management. Please. So these are processes. We have the initiating phase of the project, and then comes the planning phase, execution, monitoring and controller, and finally the closing phase. This is the logical path that travels from initiation and finally to the closing. And the most important thing is that all these processes are well connected to each other through front-end planning. It's a new concept. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to introduce it here in Pakistan, but ultimately it will have to be step in, and it's a great tool to achieve the project results. आगे चलिए. These are the knowledge areas, those who are familiar with the project management. So we have project integration management, project time management, quality management, communication, procurement, scope, cost management, HR, human resources, risk management, and project stakeholder management. There are project management methodologies. There are more than two, but these are the most often methodologies that are used in public and private sector organizations. The first one is waterfall. It's a linear step-by-step approach, and it is used when you have got something simple and without complexities, with a clear scope and predictable timeline. So it involves rigorous planning upfront to ensure that the project stays on track. In Pakistan, uh, I think more than 80% projects are started on waterfall method. Agile method, it's a fairly new concept, and uh, mostly it is used in software developing. I personally like agile methodology, and I have recently used in my own projects, and it worked well. It worked like a charm because it gives you result, and there are minimum chances that that you miss the timelines, or you are not able to come up to the expectation of your stakeholders, because you involve stakeholders at each and every step of your project in agile methodology. Agile methodology is designed in a way that uh, you you do some sprints, or you organized sprints. Let's say a week uh, objectives and responsibilities to a team, and you give them a week, and you ask them that this is the target and you have to achieve it within a week. Now what happens? You have a 15 minutes stand up, daily stand up with your team, and you are not supposed to ask that why you didn't do it. They are simply going to tell you that we have done it or we have not it. And there are certain tools that we use to record their progress, and that is Kanban, Trello software. It's a wonderful tool that you can track the progress. So agile methodology, I personally feel that this is something that if adopted with some uh, what we say, with some changes or customization, then it can answer our problems that we are experiencing at the moment in Pakistan, so far as project management is related. Please, next one.
What you call this? What you call in that? What you call the adapt to the changing requirement? Because if you have a planning, and
Yes.
in the start you have already fixed the objective of any project, and you have fixed it. Then what do you mean by? Can you go back one slide back? Because you're
It's a waterfall method?
no,
Are
to
you-
an agile
Oh, this one.
method.
Okay.
To quickly adapt to changing project requirements.
Yes.
It means that the client, the customer asks for changes, or
Yes.
the
Yes, it is. Because what happens?
it means that you are while you are making the contract, or
Hmm.
when you are making the initial phase,
Hmm.
you haven't fixed the goals, the objective, or the requirements, because
Let me clarify it. What happens when, as I said, that it is based on a uh, sprints, right? Sprint can be a 1 week target, 1 month, 3 month, right? So you include the decision making of your stakeholder. You cannot go to the next phase without first uh, uh, having the consent of your stakeholder. If he agrees that what you are doing or what my team is doing, only then you can go to the next phase, no, next stage, right? This is why the chances of failure are very little, rather almost these are non-existent in this type of, because you involve your stakeholders on a constant feedback, right? Suppose we are developing a software, right? We have iris software which is used for filing the returns, right? So if we are bringing certain changes in the iris, we have stakeholders in the shape of Anjuman-e Tajran, trade bodies, uh, bar associations, right? One representative from each organization is included in the stakeholder list, and they are involved in the decision making, right? So I have organized a team which is working on the project. So they will only go to the next phase when they have the approval from the stakeholders. So there is a constant changes. If the stakeholders see that something is not working,
Yeah.
right?
But in every methodology, there is a management of change. So every is a procedure or every methodology.
Yes.
It says that if
Yes.
there is a change, you should have a specific procedure or methodology. So it is included inherently in each and every
In
method, I think.
waterfall or
This is
lean.
very that's why I want to understand.
Yes,
what
of
is-
course.
It's not
Yes.
complicated and costly.
I think which one?
Costly and complicated.
Which one?
In adaptable.
The agile one?
Yes, adapt to changing project.
No,
Changing the stakeholders.
it's not like that. That there are always changes, right? It happens once or twice so it's not always that, no, because you cannot afford it, right? So even it is not in the interest of your stakeholders. So what I understand that
In every method.
yes, but what happens in waterfall, there, suppose a project is initiated, right? And you have agreed all the timelines, all the quality standards, right? And cost management, right? So it's going smooth, right? And when there is a change, there is a long process of change management, right? This is not the case in agile management, because you are involving stakeholders at each and every step. That's the it's not without shortcomings, right? No system can be complete or perfect, right? You have to make it, or you have to customize it according to your needs. Next, please. Now come to the how it works in Pakistan. What is how the project management is done in Pakistan. So, since I have confined it to the public sector organizations, because in private sector we don't need approvals, right? And basically it's between the owner of the project and the contractor, and we are not in a position to regulate their affairs, right? It's the court basically that does it. So, but here in public sector, we have a large platform where we perform project activities. So, in public sector projects, we when a project is conceived in a department, let's suppose that I am in FBR, and I received requirements from the field that they need an additional office block or residential complex. So they send me their requirements, and I have to make it a project. So then the first step to make it a project is DDWP. That is Departmental Development Working Party. It is a homegrown development party which is headed by the chairman or the secretary of the department, but it does have members from finance, planning commission, so that with their concurrence, the project is funded in the next PSDP, right? Then, and if your project cost is not more than 1 billion, then it falls into DDWP. But if it goes beyond 1 billion and up to the 7.5 billion or 75,000 million, then we have another platform which is called CDWP, Central Development Working Party. This forum is headed by Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, and it has members from Finance and Planning Commission, and of course the PAO or Principal Accounting Officer of the concerned department. Finally, we have ECNAC. That is Executive Committee of National Economic Council, headed by Finance Minister. Initially, it used to be headed by Prime Minister, but then he delegated his powers to the Finance Minister. So, if the project cost is beyond 75,000 million or 7.5 billion, then the approval forum is ECNAC. Next, please. Okay.
Only single dimensional.
Which one?
It means it is only single dimensional decision making, that it is only the finances which makes the decision
Yes.
and the limit.
Yeah.
Not
Initially,
the significance to the social sector or whatever. That there's no other.
no. It's the, I mean, I think it's limited to the cost, right? So if the cost is within the limit of that forum, then it is approved by the forum. Or if it, yes, one very good question. We have executing agency which is called PAG PWD, right? That is the executing agency for almost all the government departments, right? According to rules of business, they are responsible for project design, project planning, right, and project execution, right? FBR as a sponsoring agency is only entrusted with the responsibility of monitoring and evaluation or supervising the project, right? If we see that something is not good or something is beyond the scope of the project, then we step in and correct the things accordingly, right? So, Planning Commission, there are certain forms. PC1 is Planning Commission Form 1, which is basically a project charter, right? It describes project needs, description, justification, location, and duration and cost estimates. PC2, that is Planning Commission Certificate 2, it's a feasibility report. So if there is a big project which needs proper feasibility, then the PAG PWD hires a external consultant firm that carries out the feasibility report, and based on that report, we submit it to the CDWP, right? PC3 is the progress report, that's Planning Commission Form 3. PC4 is a completion certificate, right? And PC5 is the impact assessment. So we all know that every project comes with certain objectives, right? So after the completion, an impact assessment is carried out, and we see whether the project has achieved the objectives or not. So, but unfortunately, this practice is not regular. And I don't know whether I should be telling on this platform or not, but the completion certificate is not issued, even if the project is completed. That shows that something is wrong with the project. And in my case, in our when I assumed the charge, there were 104 projects were completed, but we had completion certificate of only 28 projects.
And that is issued after PC5.
No, PC5 is the last stage, which is impact assessment. Right? When the project is completed, suppose project is completed and we have issued a PC4, which is the completion certificate. Right? Only then PC5 comes into action and we carry out impact assessment to
Which
see
authority is responsible to perform this impact?
Park PWD.
Either is
Sorry.
our high standard or we are not reaching
Okay.
high standard.
Okay.
It's
And also, are we saying that
Excuse me.
for, I'll speak really
No, no,
Yeah,
doesn't
okay,
say.
okay, yeah, sure,
Everybody's
sure.
not
Okay,
this.
okay.
yes, ma'am.
So are we saying that for 104 projects, there is no impact assessment study?
No.
Because you mentioned that there
Yes.
only,
Let me clear.
28 projects
Were
received
completed,
the
yes.
completion certificate.
Yes, absolutely.
So that leads me to assume that only 28 projects that were awarded completion certificate, the impact assessment was carried out.
Yes. What happens that impact assessment is carried out only for those projects which are big, right? Suppose if we are constructing a ground plus 3-story building, so obviously there cannot be impact assessment, right? So impact assessment is carried out when you have a project, big project costing 7.5 billion and more, right? So for small projects, I think the impact assessment is not carried out. But if, just like if since I have worked in BISP and we started a project called Wasila Zafar, Wasila Rozgar and Kamyab Naujawan, right? So these were big projects and their objectives were quite clear. So when the project was completed, then external firm, which was I think Oxford, they started doing it for us, and they reported that impact assessment was not good, and that was quite clear, right? Yes. No, not that. In fact, when these are very reputed NGOs, and all their reports are referenced, and so it's not easy for them to give you a picture that is not correct, right? Next, please. Well, now we are coming to the public-private partnership projects. At the present, our government is running short of funds, right? And unfortunately, our PSDP, Public Sector Development Program, is shrinking. So the logical decision was to go towards public-private. In FBR, we have started 4 projects, 4 residential projects, high-rise buildings in Islamabad, Lahore, and 2 in Karachi. And so far, we have completed all the requirements, all the formalities, and we are going to float the tender in a couple of days. So so far it's working well, right? So public-private partnership, basically it's a business relationship between a private sector partner and a public agency to serve the public. In our case, we gave our land to the private partner, or we are intending to give our land to the private partner, and the private partner will make an investment to construct the high-rise building. Since it's a BOT basis, build, operate, and transfer, the private partner will build the project, operate the project, and then after a certain period, or say 25 years, it will hand the project back to us. Without. But for this 25 years, if we are constructing 100 apartments, 50 will be given to the private partner so that he may rent it out and earn the money so that so we carry out certain cost benefit analysis techniques like internal rate of return, payback period, and WACC, weighted average cost of capital. So if all these indicators, all these techniques give you positive signal, then the project is considered vital or viable, and you can do the project. Next, please. As I told you that public-private partnership authority is a recent phenomenon, and in 2018 it was established under the Act of P3A 2017, and in 2019 some awareness campaigns were started, and and approval of concept proposals were given by the government or the forums. In 2020, P3 Amendment Ordinance came into promulgation, and they established risk assessment or risk management unit. In 2021, P3 Amendment Act again it was promulgated, and finally to 2022 P3 Amendment Act advisory mandate for P3A and direct sourcing of IFIs. So they started advising the departments, and so far there have been few projects which are considered to be a success stories, like some motorway projects, but they are expanding their domain, like they are doing it with the FBR, and we are constructing high-rise residential buildings. So similarly, they have entered into agreement with Park Railway and Foreign Office for doing the projects. Aage. Yes. So this is the composition, how the P3A works. There is a P3A board, and chairperson or minister of planning, development, and special initiatives. He is a chairperson. They have a member, deputy chairman from Ministry of Planning, Development, and Special Initiatives. Secretary, Ministry of Finance is also a member, and a private sector member is also there. Secretary, Chief Executive Officer of P3A is the secretary of the board. Secretary, Ministry of Planning, Development, and Special Initiatives is also a member, and then again there is another private member from the private sector. आगे चलिए जी. So, how the projects are conceived and the concept paper is made. Concept goes to implementing agency to submit their plan to be approved by the PSWP, provincial. This is the forum which approves the concept of the project. And then the second stage is the procurement, preparation of bidding documents, tendering, selection of bidder. Let me tell you one more thing. There are two type of projects that are handled by the Public Partnership Authority. One is qualified project. Qualified project means the projects which are duly approved by the Public Partnership Authority, and it is there is a term which is viability gap funding. So if they hire a private partner, but private partner says that he's running short of funding and some amount has to be arranged by the government. So this is called viability gap arrangement. So if 1 billion project and the private partnership is investing only 700 million, so 300 million, the viability gap will be arranged by the government. So, but it is only for the qualified projects which are handled directly by the public-private partnership authority. So then there is a development of they hire a transaction advisor and their suggestions are submitted in the P3A board. Then these are evaluated by their committee, and finally the award of contract is awarded. After the award of contract, then they start implementation phase, and when the contract is awarded and the work starts at the site, so there is a this is called financial close. So likewise, the execution of the project starts after the financial close is achieved. Next, please.
Now, what about all the authority of the composition?
पीछे जाइए.
That belongs to the government organization, government.
Yes.
So it is usually conceived that a government procedure, the execution is so slow that how you can attract private or states up to invest and wait for so long that what motivation you give them to put money in that?
Yes. I think you have seen that the process of approval is different, right? As we saw that the normal projects which are managed by the Ministry of Planning, Development and Special Initiative,
Okay.
the approval stages are different. So in P3A, the approval stages are very few, and usually these are under one window. So let's suppose that how it works. If the government departments intends to start a project under PPP arrangement, under public-private partnership arrangement, he simply has to write to the P3A, Public Partnership Authority, that we want to do this, right? Within a week or two, you receive their approval that they are ready to advise you for this project, and you sign an advisory agreement with the P3A. We did it, right? And then bidding documents are prepared for hiring the transaction advisor. So now we have to see that there is a certain time period which is required to give so that bidders can submit their bids, right? So this is the only time that that is consumed in these sort of projects. That at least 1 month should be given to the bidders, right? So that they submit their bids. So yeah.
What is the role of the transaction advisors?
Yes. Transaction advisor is again a private party, right? They are specialists in their field, and right. So they prepare bidding documents, they concessionary agreement, they prepare request for proposals, right? So since they are experts of their field, so the quality of the hiring of the private partner is much better as compared to when we do it traditionally.
So they keep it fair.
Absolutely, absolutely. But because I'm of the opinion that when project management is properly used in the project, and you you employ all the tools, then the chances of corruption, then the chances of irregularities are minimized. So that's the problem. Next, please. Now, these are unqualified projects. In qualified, we saw that P3A is directly controlling the qualified projects. And there is also an element of viability gap funding, like that if there is a shortage of funds, then the government or the department can arrange the funds so that the project does not suffer. So these are unqualified projects in which the department has the authority or has the liberty to engage the private partner without resorting or without seeking advice from the public-private partnership authority. But normally, it is considered good that we should enter into the service agreement with the P3A because it helps you to achieve maximum benefits from your project, from the private partner, right? And it also safeguards the interest of private partner because no private partner can come into the agreement if he sees that he is not going to be benefited by the project, right? So we basically, the objective is to lure or to support the private partner so that he may come and invest in your project. Concept, again, project concept plan to be approved by the competent forum. Now, the competent forum can be the committee formed by the department who is intending to do the project, right? So, if it can be headed by the chairman or it can be headed by another senior officer. So, the department can approve the project concept plan. Procurement of TA, transaction advisor, again, there is no limitation on the, or there is no obligatory upon the department to seek advice from the P3A and then hire the transaction advisor. But again, it is considered good to be engaged with the P3A. Again, so hiring of the private partner who executes the project, as I told you. Negotiation of PPP agreement, signing, financial close, and the project starts. I mean, the construction starts. Next, please. Yes, there are certain types of agreement in public-private partnership arrangement. One is BOT. BOT is built, operate, and transfer, right? So, if the private partner is constructing a building, means he builds it. And if he operates it for 25 years, that is operation of the project. And then he will transfer the project once the period of 25 periods comes to the conclusion or the complete. So, the BOT model is generally used to develop a discrete asset rather than a whole network, right? Finally, the asset comes to you. I mean, it goes to the government or the department, along with all the constructed building assets. So it goes back to the, but in these 25 years, the private partner will achieve or will earn for which he invested in the water. So another one is BOOT, that is built, operate, own, and transfer, right? The private sector builds and owns the facility for the duration of the contract with the primary goal of recouping construction cost during the operational phase. Another one is BOO. That is almost similar to the boot, but in that arrangement, the facility is not transferred to the public sector partner. It remains with the private partner, right? And that is design, build, finance, and operate. The private sector designs, builds, finances, operates, and asset, then leases it back to the government. So this is the reverse of the BOT, in which government leases the facility, the project to the private partner, and then he gives it back to the government. But in that arrangement, DBFO, the private sector designs, builds, finances, operates, and assets, and then leases it back to the government for a period of 25 years, 30 years, 15 years, as the case may be.
Boot. Very similar, yes.
Very similar.
Where
almost.
does the ownership come in, and how does
No,
this
ownership remains with the government, with the department.
Right.
So the private sector in BOOT, the private partner, he is given the ownership authority for that 25 years,
Okay.
right? But it will not be the case in BOT, right? He will only be
Operate.
responsible for the operation.
Okay.
That's all. Next, please. Yes, sure. Please go back to the previous slide. Yes, ma'am.
So how does the government decide which? How does the government decide which type of agreement?
In Pakistan, in Pakistani laws, the safe side is BOT, right? Because we don't have rules or regulations that allow us to give authority or give ownership to the private partner, right? Only in development authorities, they can sell the land to the private partner, like CDA, Rawalpindi Development Authority, Lahore Development Authority. But the departments like FBR, railways, finance ministries or divisions, they are not supposed to sell their assets, right? So the logical arrangement in PPP project, that will be the BOT, right? Next, please. So that's why we are here, to see why projects fail. So causes: lack of planning. Planning is highly complex, highly critical, and highly important area. And it is said that if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. So, unfortunately, almost 80% of your projects are failed due to bad planning, right? We see cost overrun, we see time overrun in almost every project. And why it happens? Because these aspects which emerged after the initiation of the project were not considered at the time of planning. But now the term front-end planning is being used in worldwide. But here perhaps we need some more time to. Yes, please.
Do we find political shorts at it?
We will be discussing that then.
Okay.
So
But,
there are lots of causes.
Bad planning reasons. These are the reasons, lack of planning, but what are the reasons for the bad planning?
Reason for the bad planning is that we don't have qualified project managers.
Yes, this is the point.
Right? And above all, our finances are not secured. We are not sure whether what we are planning at the moment, we will be able to fund it after some time. Right? That's the problem. That's a big problem, rather.
It's also finding that some governments and parties, when you can say some parties are in government, they are interested that within 5 years the project is to be completed and interest is to be taken. The beneficiary.
There is a whole.
Great game plan.
No, I mean there is a whole planning phase. That it has a cost management, it has quality management, it has time management, it has communication management. Everything is there, right? So when you prepare a project plan, you try to include all these plans properly in your project plan. Only then you can assess, or you can go with the project construction. Of course, right? So lack of planning, ineffective monitoring and evaluation. Now, monitoring and evaluation, what is it? Monitoring is all about collection of data, systematic collection of data. And evaluation is systematic evaluation of that collected data. Now tell me, are we doing that? In every project, if we collect the data, if we systematically collect the data and it is evaluated properly, there cannot be a chance that project is delayed or project is failed. Because this is something, because the collected data and the evaluation gives you something that you can take decision on. If you see something wrong is happening in the project, so it comes to you, it comes on the surface and you decide accordingly. But unfortunately, when you have inaccurate data, and data is not something that can help you to take decisions, then the project is what we say, what the Share of Zalmarwat says, then we so ineffective control. So ineffective monitoring and evaluation leads to ineffective control, right? And before that, design flaws, right? And human resources. Human resources include that, as we discussed, that if we have a unqualified, untrained project manager, so the project design or project planning will be suffering from their shortcomings. Unfortunately, PAG PWD, which is the executing agency of most of the government departments, they have brilliant engineers. They have very good architects, civil engineers, electrical engineers. But what they are lacking at the moment is to have a good project manager. So these are some causes, and we will be discussing more. Please, next, please. Incompetent and untrained project manager, right? Lack of cash flows. As I said, what happens now? That remember PC1, we discussed PC1. So if we prepare PC1 in the month of January at the cost of 1 billion rupees, but the project is approved in July of that month, after 6 months, then the project cost will not be the same. There will definitely be a cost escalation, and that will be a cost overrun, right? So if a saria or the cement bag was 120 rupees in January, it will be available in 240 rupees in July. So the project, it means we are laying the foundation of project failure at the onset of the project initiation. Okay, political pressure, I think you were discussing that. Yes, like it comes with the cost. Basically,
states are at back, and big, you can say, business tycoons are at the projects and investment.
Yes,
I think there is something wrong in the bottom, as political
yes,
interests
of course.
are there.
Nobody can deny that. But there are tools that can tell you why.
Yes,
right? We say that there are deficiencies, irregularities, but why these are happening? And there are tools like risk assessment, right? Stakeholder assessment. These are tools. There are proper registers, risk registers, stakeholder register. That if you maintain it properly, they can tell you everything about it. So we can ward off these wrongdoings.
Yes.
So lack of cash flows, ineffective audit. Ineffective audit is very, very important.
Yes.
Because at the moment, even in NAB, even in FIA, and Auditor General of Pakistan, we don't have experts or people proficient with project audit. Because project audit can only be carried out by the person who at least knows the project management. So unfortunately, we are lacking these professionals at the moment. Cost and then it results into cost and time overrun. Because time overrun always brings cost overrun. So if there is a delay of 1 month or 1 year, obviously there will be cost overrun because the things will get more expensive in the future. Next, please. These are challenges. Cumbersome policies.
Yes.
Right? I don't know why do we make policies which are not in our favor? And why don't we change it? There are clear indications that Pak PWD unfortunately is not coming up to the expectations. And you know that Prime Minister has ordered the Secretary Housing that prepare a plan that how the Pak PWD could be could be done away with. Yes.
शुरू में कामयाब होगी लेकिन अब उसी को चलाएंगे.
No, I mean they have sought proposals from the ministry that tell us something. They tell us how it could be. So, and of course the corruption. Right? Now the corruption is a buzzword. You know, we have been focusing on petty things. That someone he did something that caused millions of rupees to the exchequer, right? He took the money. He laundered the money to the extent of few $1 million. But there is a huge elephant in the room, which is causing us 800 billion rupees per year in project cost overruns. I told this to the minister, Mr. Ehsan Iqbal, and he agreed that this is the issue, basically. On one hand, we are trying to save rupees and trying to save the breach in the national exchequer. But here we are allowing this great robbery on our national exchequer, right? Next, please. Well, the most important part, that is way forward and solutions. I personally have seen that if the proper monitoring is done and proper reporting is done and proper picture is presented to the high-ups. Yes, please. Let's go back.
slide.
Okay.
In the scenario, you have given the last 3 slides. Okay, don't worry. Why the project failed there? You have given, you have numbered so many factors that are responsible for the project's failure. If this prevails, and everything is almost prevails, how you can attract the sets up, private partnership? Because this procurement rules are there, you cannot change them. Audit ineffectiveness is there.
This is not for the private
Yeah,
partners.
but the system will prevail in the same way. If you are asking the same person that if you are procure something, you have to follow these rules. So if he's obeying or he's implementing these rules, so he will be always distracted. No, I want to be all alone rather than participating with the government organization.
Let me tell you one thing. Rules are very good, right?
Really?
They appear very good on the paper, but when they brought into action, they become something that actually hurting us more.
But internationally, they are acknowledged success case.
Rules are always.
Case, even if that is the case, the situation remains the same. And that is the situation is not conducive to attract the private
Yes,
sector.
but this is not for the private sector.
No, but how are you going to, you're talking about public-private partnerships.
No. This is
No.
This is not for the public private.
Not here.
No, I mean this is this. Okay, cumbersome policies. Okay, so you are saying that in the presence of these policies, how is it possible to invite the private partners, right? Well, that is the case. That's what I'm saying. That cumbersome policies needs to be changed, and they need to be made simple, right? People friendly. There is a term called ease of doing business, right? Policies are there, good or bad, but do we have a conducive environment or conducive climate for private investment?
Because the policies are there.
Yes.
Those policies are not implemented. So we don't know whether these policies are good or bad.
These policies, when these policies are made, these are subjected to be reviewed by the experts, right? Their input is present in these policies, and unfortunately, there are issues with the policies, and they need to be made simple. As I told you that there is a policy that only Park PWD is responsible for repair and maintenance in government buildings, right? Now what happens? Again, the policy, how the policy is affecting execution, right? So if the project of repair and maintenance is approved in January, this will be executed in July because the funding will be available in the July. Now the policy needs to be reviewed. That it should be in a way that when the project is approved, the funding should be available in the very next month, right? But the problem is that the approval stages are so so difficult that it takes almost 2 to 3 years to get the project approved from these forums. That's the problem. I agree with you. That's why I have give you that the cumbersome policies are affecting the project management. And then yes,
behind expertise, there are the driving forces. We need to be trace them out. As far as
first, you know what happens that you give the verdict and then you ask the question. That's the problem.
Benazir Bhutto came in power, and before this 5-phase based motorway was going on, she came and she said this high price we are paying. She made it 2-phased, and then many of Japanese and Korean companies went back. And they said, we made the agreement with one leading government, and another government came, and we have to wind up all once. And there is a political environment.
Yes.
Then how we will meet out the driving forces?
In fact,
state is not involved, or state is neutral.
Let me.
And then why political and business classes at the projectile, you can say?
Yes, sir. What happens? That your foreign investment never comes without the sovereign guarantee. Right? You know what happens in RICODEC? Why we are paying, why we are almost paid $6 billion to the firm. Otherwise, our assets will be confiscated. So that's the problem, that when you sign an agreement for the foreign investment, they try to secure sovereign guarantee. And sovereign guarantee is something that no government can afford to make the breach in it. Otherwise, you will have to pay the penalty.
Is it better to
You can say separate the projects from the government package.
I am of the
Complete
opinion.
प्रगति काम कर ही अलग दिए
I
जाएं.
am of the opinion that foreign investment, before making an agreement with the foreign institutions,
Companies or
we
institutions.
need to be careful so that why don't they invest in projects where sovereign guarantee is not secured?
after 99
And we have no, you can say, investment from European countries.
Yes, sir, that's
Just
the reason.
war and terror and
Absolutely.
China,
Absolutely.
CPAC.
Even now, just have a look. A few days back, we have burned, we lynched a Christian. So we are we not seeing that this is what happening? Yes, of course. Look, it is very difficult to have a foreign investment without first having a conducive and environment which is safe and sound for the investor. Even if,
not only storyboard, other
Financial security.
sir, even you, if you are given an opportunity to invest in South Waziristan, you won't go there. That simply that, because investor comes for the money, comes for the return of the money. So if it is not available, then nobody will come. So
why no
that's
investment is going in
South African,
Yes.
African countries.
Yes.
That's why there is no safe conducive environment ready for that.
These are realities. Nobody can deny it.
at a time
Many of the projects and investments are going on. That's why we are not meeting the demanding.
I don't think the case, because every project is carefully designed, and they first see that how much funding is available for the project, and only then they execute it. This is not the case, but there are other problems like rules, policies, and the execution inefficiency. We should accept it that we are badly lacking professionals in our project management, or unless and until we overcome these issues, I think it will be difficult to achieve a successful projects. And successful projects are very necessary. Yes, sir. So corruption, we all know that the check and balance on the corrupt practices is not ideal in our country. We allow things to happen, and when there is a sense of protection in the culprit or in the mind of a person, I think why shouldn't he do that?
corporates are sitting at the driving seats of the state.
No, I won't say that. Yes, sir.
Civil society would say.
Next, please.
Solutions.
Yeah, solution. As simple procurement rules, sir, your question. Early contractor involvement. That is something that's a new concept. When I was in Australia, we worked on a project, aged care project, and where we involved a contractor, and we prepared bidding documents, we prepared design with the help of that contractor, and then all was done, we offered him that now, since you have helped us in preparing these documents in the project, so why don't you execute it? So, and then the rules over there, they allowed us to hire the same contractor who actually helped us in preparing the project. But here, PPRA rules don't allow us to do this arrangement in Pakistan, because perhaps we are not ready for that. It will bring more difficulties if we resort to this arrangement. Yes, conflict. It can be a conflict, but in
ISO standards are
no, ISO standards are also there, right? But here in Australia, the system was in place, and even the contractor knew that I have to do it in a proper time or in that amount. So accurate planning commission that IPA. It's an independent project assessment system, right? Rather, independent project assessment system. Yes. So it's an online tool where the departments, they submit progress report of the project on the online IPAS system. Unfortunately, the progress, the data is not accurate, because we are dependent on the execution agency of Pak PWD, and despite hectic efforts, I have written almost 100 plus letters to the Director General, to the Chief Engineer, to the executive engineers. They only send one page which says that physical progress is 65% and financial progress is 75%, right? And let me tell you that progress in terms of percentage is highly misleading, that can never show you the complete. You know what happens? Once a study was carried out in Heathrow Airport, and they proudly, the management, they said that they were achieving 99.9% accuracy rate, right? So when it was assessed, it came to the fore that if 99.9% was the success rate on Heathrow Airport, it means that 22,000 passengers who were going to New York, they will be going to Jakarta. They will be going to Jakarta. That is the power of 99.9%. So you never ever try to present your progress report in percentage terms. That will be misleading and may give you inaccurate picture of the project. So timely release of funds. Again, the project was approved in January, and the funds were released in July. In some cases, the funds were released after 2 years. So the project is gone. Hiring of project managers in Pak, we discussed that. So. Next, please. Timely approvals, right? It's a key. Using of project management tools, yes. In risk assessment, we have certain tools. One is Primavera P6, that is very useful tool. If you enter the accurate facts and figures and the information, it gives you almost a perfect information on the project, whether the project is going to be viable or not, right? Proper coordination between departments, that's again a very key area which needs to be focused on, because unfortunately we have seen that a project is started, because I have recently seen on Kuri Road, on the Park Road, a road was constructed, right? After 15 days, the WAVDA or the ISCO, they started digging the project and for laying the pipes. So that's absolutely. That's what. Yes, that's the case. Absolutely.
1960.
Okay. Post completion physical audit. again this can easily ward off the element of corruption if properly done this, right? Because the contractor who constructed the building or the department who financed it or sponsored it, they will be, if this is going to happen, then they will be more than careful not to do something that can be unearthed in the physical audit. Continuity of project leadership, again this is very, very important, because what happens that a project director initiates the project, but after 3 or 4 months he is transferred, and the new one, he comes and he and then he tries to insert his own expertise or something that can ruin the project.
Indirectly, you are favoring the extension. No. Okay. Just okay. Just on the light sides.
Well, if that is related to the project, then okay. Next, please. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. Right. My one question is that
Sir.
most of the project, they are sometimes they are funded by the international donors. So don't they monitor or evaluate or audit these projects, because they can enforce their requirements? So
This is-
how these are managed, because
Yes.
they are mostly in transparent way. Yeah.
And luckily, I have been part of the projects which are funded by the donors, World Bank, and in BISP, I managed the projects which were funded by JICA, USAID, and World Bank. Unfortunately, their bureaucracy is as strong as we have in Pakistan, right? So if the project is delayed, because I know that there are several projects which are experiencing time overrun at the present, even in FBR, but they should have stepped in, and their expertise should have been used so that delay could be warded off. But unfortunately, we are still not that good in terms of their effective implementation that can actually help us to achieve the projects on that magic triangle of time, scope, and quality.
या कमेंट कर
जी सर, प्लीज.
ये है कि वी आर ऑल टॉकिंग अबाउट द फेलियर्स, कुछ सक्सेस भी होंगी डेफिनेटली. तो मैं अगर देखता हूँ, मुझे जो नज़र आते हैं प्रोजेक्ट्स जो सक्सेस हैं गवर्नमेंट के, अब BRT देख लें, यहाँ का हो, पिशावर का हो, मैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ फाइनेंसेस बात नहीं करने लगा, वो ओवररन है हर किसी में, कंप्लीशन है, उसका सोशल इम्पैक्ट आप देखें बहुत है. लेकिन इसके पीछे ड्राइविंग फोर्स क्या थी? वही ब्यूरोक्रेसी है, वही लोग हैं, वही डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं. तो द की फैक्टर इज योर मैनेजमेंट मीन पॉलिटिकल मैनेजमेंट, योर पॉलिटिकल गवर्नमेंट, नंबर वन. फंड्स भी उतने ही थे हमारे पास जितने पहले होते हैं, फंड्स में भी कोई इशू नहीं था.
अच्छा,
इट्स ओनली द विल of your government that drives the force.
जी,
नंबर वन. नंबर टू, पूछना मैं ये चाह रहा था कि प्रोजेक्ट्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं, प्रोजेक्ट के हवाले से कौन सा प्रोजेक्ट अच्छा भी है आपकी नज़र में जो आपने देखा, और बहुत बुरा भी है, लेकिन कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स फेल भी होते हैं एज अ प्रोजेक्ट, बट देयर प्रोडक्ट इज नेवर फेल.
जी, बिल्कुल ठीक है.
वो जैसे ये प्रोजेक्ट फेल, अगर आप
بی آر ٹی پشاور کو دیکھیں گے اٹ مائٹ بی اے فیل پروجیکٹ, لیکن اس کی پروڈکٹ جو ہے وہ فیل نہیں ہے. اس کے آپ اسیسمنٹ دیکھیں تو میں 2-3 دیکھ رہا تھا, گلوبل آ رہے تھے کہ دوسرے نمبر پہ آیا ہے ڈیو ٹو اٹس سوشل امپیکٹ. تو یہ 2 ڈفرینٹ چیزیں ہیں.
ابھی انہوں نے ایک گولڈن اسٹینڈرڈ کا ایوارڈ بھی جیتا ہے پشاور بی آر ٹی. دیکھیں میں جو بات کر رہا ہوں وہ یہ ہے ایز اے پروجیکٹ مینیجر, ٹھیک ہے, ہم اسٹرکٹلی اس چیز کو دیکھتے ہیں کہ کیا پروجیکٹ نے اپنے مقاصد حاصل کیے. اب مقاصد کیا ہیں, کیا ٹائم پہ کمپلیٹ ہوا, جو ریکوائرمنٹ اسٹیک ہولڈرس کی ہوا. اگر یہ نہیں ہوا تو اٹ مینس پروجیکٹ تو فیلڈ ہے, ٹھیک ہے. اب جو آپ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ اب وہ کیونکہ اٹ از پرووائڈنگ فیسلٹیز ٹو دا ماسز, رائٹ, اینڈ وہ ہے. اب اس میں دیکھیں وہ پھر آپ کے اور میرے جو ٹیکس کی جو پیسے ہیں وہ اس کے اوپر اس کو انفلوئنس کر رہا ہے وہ. اب اگر ایک پروجیکٹ ہے جس کی کاسٹ تھی 8 بلین روپیز اور وہ 67 بلین پہ چلا جائے, چلیں وہ ٹھیک ہے, پیسنجرس ہیں ان کو تو بس میں بیٹھنے کا موقع مل رہا ہے, لیکن اس کی جو کاسٹ ہے وہ میں اور آپ بیئر کر رہے ہیں. دیکھیں اب وہ اے ڈی بی کا پروجیکٹ تھا, اب ظاہر اے ڈی بی سے انہوں نے لون لیا ہے نا, اب وہ لون واپس بھی کرنا ہے. اب وہ جو 10 روپے یا 15 روپے انہوں نے کرایہ رکھا ہوا ہے اس سے وہ واپس نہیں ہوگا. وہ اس وقت ہوگا جب میں اور آپ صابن خریدیں گے, میں اور آپ گھی خریدیں گے, تیل خریدیں گے, اس میں جو آپ کا جی ایس ٹی جائے گا یا جو ہر سال ہم انکم ٹیکس کی مد میں دیتے ہیں وہ اس میں جائے گا. پھر پروجیکٹ وائبلٹی جو ہم نے ڈسکس کیا نا, دیکھیں پروجیکٹ وائبل اسی وقت ہوتا ہے جب وہ آپ کو بینیفٹ دے. یہ نہیں کہ آپ اس کو سبسڈیز کے ذریعے چلائیں. آپ کے تقریباً سارے جتنے بھی پروجیکٹس ہیں, ایون لاہور کا, اسلام آباد کا, ملتان کا جو بی آر ٹی ہے وہ سارے سبسڈیز پہ چل رہا ہے. چلے سبسڈیز باقی دنیا میں بھی ہوتی ہیں, لیکن باقی دنیا جو ہے وہ افورڈ کر سکتی ہے, ہم نہیں کر سکتے. اور اس کا جو ڈائریکٹ نشانہ ہوں گے وہ پھر آپ اور ہم ہی ہوں گے پھر اس کا.
ہے کہ ہمیں پتہ ہے کہ کچھ پولیٹیکل انفلوئنس بھی ہے, پرائیویٹ پارٹنرشپ یا پرائیویٹ پروجیکٹس کو اسٹارٹ کرتا ہے, تو پولیٹیکل انفلوئنس سے پھر بھی مطلب اتنا ٹائم ٹیکنگ کیوں ہوتا ہے کوئی بھی پروجیکٹ یا بزنس اسٹارٹ کرنے میں؟ اس کے پیچھے کیا ریشنل ہے کہ ہم سال سے یا کچھ مہینے ہو جاتے ہیں کہ کوئی پروجیکٹ اسٹارٹ کرتا ہے؟
جی میں ابھی ہم نے ڈسکس کیا نا, جب ہم پروجیکٹ پلان کرتے ہیں نا اس کے وہاں پر ہم یہ دیکھتے ہیں کہ سب سے پہلے تو یہ دیکھیں کہ یہ پروجیکٹ جن مقاصد کے لیے بنایا گیا ہے یا بنایا جا رہا ہے وہ ہمیں حاصل بھی ہوں گے یا نہیں ہوں گے, ٹھیک ہے نا. پلاننگ جو پروسیس ہے, اب پلاننگ پروسیس میں ہم اس کو دیکھتے ہیں کہ اس کا ہم کرتے ہیں کاسٹ بینیفٹ انالیسس, ٹھیک ہے. اگر ایک تو سوشل پروجیکٹس ہو گئے جو ہوتے ہی سوشل پروجیکٹس ہیں, ان کو ہم مانیٹائز کر کے کسی نہ کسی طریقے. لیکن اگر کوئی بی آر ٹی کا پروجیکٹ ہے یا کوئی اس طرح کا ہے, روڈ کنسٹرکشن کا ہے, تو وہاں پر ہم یہ دیکھتے ہیں کہ کیا وہ ہمیں جو کاسٹ بینیفٹ انالیسز ہے یا ریگولیٹری امپیکٹ اسسمنٹ ہے.
اس میں کہہ رہا ہوں جیسے کوئی پیٹرول پمپ اسٹارٹ کرنا ہو گیا یا کوئی ایسی چیزیں.
دیکھیں پیٹرول پمپ تو وہ پرائیویٹ,
میں وہی پرائیویٹ کی بات کر رہا ہوں, اس میں سر اتنا ٹائم ٹیکنگ کیوں ہے اسٹارٹ کرنے میں؟ اس کے پیچھے ریشنل
میں آپ کو بتاؤں کہ دیکھیں اب جو پرائیویٹ, جیسے کوئی بندہ پرائیویٹ پیٹرول پمپ شروع کرنا چاہ رہا ہے, اب اس کا اونر وہ خود ہے, ٹھیک ہے نا. اب یہ ہو سکتا ہے کہ اس کی پیٹرول پمپ کے اپروول میں دیر ہو جائے, وہ ہو سکتا ہے. دیکھیں اب یہ وہی بات ہے کہ اگر آپ کے ڈاکیومنٹس پورے ہیں, ہر چیز پوری ہے, لیکن اگر چلے ہم یہ ازیوم کر لیتے ہیں جناب وہ کسی نے اس سے پیسے مانگ لیے, وہ ہے, یہ دوسری بات ہے. اب وہ اس کو ہم نہ آپ جسٹیفائی کر سکتے ہیں نہ ہم کر سکتے ہیں, ٹھیک ہے نا. وہ پرائیویٹ انیشیٹو ہے, وہ آپ کا اپنا ہے. فرض کریں اگر آپ وہ پیٹرول پمپ لگانا چاہ رہے ہیں, اس میں دیر ہو رہی ہے, اب اس میں گورنمنٹ کا تو ایشو نہیں ہوگا نا کوئی. اب وہاں پر کوئی اپروول اسٹیجز تو نہیں ہے. ہاں آپ کا اپنا ہو سکتا ہے کہ آپ کو سی ڈی اے سے کوئی زمین کا ایشو ہو سکتا ہے, یا کسی ایسی جگہ پہ آپ لگا رہے ہیں جہاں پر وہ نہیں ہونا چاہیے, بائی لاز میں ہٹ ہو رہا ہے, وہ دوسری بات ہے. لیکن یہ پرائیویٹ انیشیٹو, اس کے ساتھ کوئی تعلق نہیں ہوگا نا, کہ جو پروجیکٹ مینجمنٹ ہے وہ اس میں.
سر یہ جو آپ نے ابھی باتیں کی یہ بڑی انٹرسٹنگ ہے, لیکن میں یہ کہہ رہا ہوں کہ گورنمنٹ کو یہ ایک سلوشن کیوں ملتا ہے کہ ہر چیز کی ایک نئی اتھارٹی بنا دیں. ہم مطلب پہلے پبلک پروکیورمنٹ ریگولیٹری اتھارٹی ہے, اس کے اوپر ایک اور اتھارٹی ہے. اسی طرح ہم نے ہاؤسنگ میں دیکھا ہے کہ پہلے وہ امپلائیز ہاؤسنگ اتھارٹی بنائی گئی, اس کے علاوہ ایک پی ایچ اے تھی پاکستان ہاؤسنگ اتھارٹی, پھر ایک نیا پاکستان ہاؤسنگ اتھارٹی بنا دی ہم نے, اور اس میں ہم وہی گورنمنٹ سرونٹس کو لا کے ان کا ہیڈ بناتے ہیں, وہی لوگ اس اتھارٹی کو چلاتے ہیں. کوئی چینج نہیں ہوتا, بس ایک نومن کلیچر چینج ہوتی ہے, اس کی تھوڑی چیزیں چینج ہوتی ہیں. دوسرا یہ جو آپ بات کر رہے ہیں کہ چیزوں کو جہاں ہم چینج کرنے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں, آپ کے اپنے ایف بی آر کا میں ایک بتاتا ہوں کہ ایک زمانے میں ایکسپورٹ پروموشن کے لیے ایک لائسنس ہوتا تھا, ایکسپورٹ کا لائسنس ہوتا تھا. میاں نواز شریف کی گورنمنٹ آئی, انہوں نے ختم کر دیا اس کو. تو جب اس کو ختم کیا تو ہماری جو بیوروکریسی ہے اس نے ایک نئی چیز انٹروڈیوس کر دی اس کی جگہ, وی باک آئی ڈی, جو لینا جو ہے ایکسپورٹ لائسنس سے بھی زیادہ مشکل ہوتی تھی ہمارے لیے ایف بی آر کے پاس جا کے, کیونکہ میں خود لائر ہوں, میں یہ کام کرتا ہوں. تو مطلب اسی طرح میں جتنے یہ نئے این جی او لاز بنے ہیں, میں اس کا کنسلٹنٹ تھا, ہم نے نئے این جی او لاز بنائے, ہم نے سب کو آن لائن کر دیا. پنجاب انفارمیشن ٹیکنالوجی بورڈ نے ایک اس کا آن لائن سسٹم بنا دیا, آپ این جی او اس پہ رجسٹر کر دیں, کیونکہ ہمارا فیٹف کا ایشو تھا. تو میں نے کافی سارے پورے ملک میں جا کے ہم نے کنسلٹنگ کی 33 ایونٹ کرائے ہم نے پورے ملک کے ہوٹلز میں, نئے این جی او لاز بنائے کہ نئے این جی اوز کیسے رجسٹر ہوں گی. ہم نے وہ لا بنا کے دے دیا. ہماری بیوروکریسی نے کیا کیا اس سسٹم کے ساتھ, انہوں نے کہا کہ وہی پرانے رولز لگا دیے, لا نئے تھے رولز وہی پرانے, اور کہا کہ جی 4 فائلوں کی کاپیاں آپ فزیکلی لا کے جمع کرائیں ہمیں. تو ہماری بیوروکریسی کچھ حد تک جو ہے نا وہ چاہتی نہیں ہے چینج, وہ اپنی جو ہے اجارہ داری نہیں چھوڑنا چاہتی. جہاں ہم کوئی نیا سسٹم بنا کے دیتے ہیں وہ کہتے ہیں کوئی وہی پرانا کوئی ایسی چیز لے آتے ہیں کہ وہ پچھلے سے بھی زیادہ مشکل ہو جاتی ہے.
ٹھیک ہے, چلے میں آپ کو خوشخبری سنا دیتا ہوں. ابھی ریسنٹلی ہم نے بی آر میں پاکستان کسٹمز نے جو آپ نے کہا نا وی باک سسٹم, اب ہم نے اس کو مزید بہتر کر دیا ہے, اور ایک نیا ہم نے سسٹم کیا ہے پاکستان سنگل ونڈو. ٹھیک ہے سر, اور پاکستان سنگل ونڈو از اے بریلینٹ ٹول دیٹ انشورز ایز آف ڈوئنگ بزنس. آپ یقین کریں, آپ اس میں ڈال دیں, اپنا اپلیکیشن ڈال دیں, انفارمیشن پوری کریں, آپ کو ود ان نو ٹائم جو ہے وہ آپ کو وہ ہو جائے گا. آپ نے ضرور دیکھا ہوگا کہ ابھی جو پی ایس ڈبلیو ہے دیٹس اے بریلینٹ سکسیس اسٹوری. ٹھیک ہے, آپ کی بات 100% ٹھیک ہے. دیکھیں جو چینج ہوتی ہے نا وہ آلویز ریزسٹڈ. ٹھیک ہے, وہ ہمیشہ لوگ جو ہے وہ ڈرتے ہیں اس سے, ایکسیپٹ نہیں کرتے, بہت مشکل ہوتا ہے. لیکن اب اس کا طریقہ کیا ہے, میں ایز اے پروجیکٹ مینیجر آپ کو بتاؤں. دیکھیں اس کا یہ ہوتا ہے کہ ایک اگین ایک ٹول ہے جس کو ہم کہتے ہیں ریگولیٹری امپیکٹ اسیسمنٹ, یا چلیں اس کو ہم آسان زبان میں کہتے ہیں اسٹیک ہولڈر فیڈ بیک. ٹھیک ہے, آپ جب بھی کوئی پالیسی یا جب بھی کوئی انیشیٹو شروع کرتے ہیں آپ اپنے اسٹیک ہولڈرز کو بتاتے ہی نہیں ہیں. ٹھیک ہے, اگر آپ ان کو اعتماد میں لیں, ان کو اس کے پروس اینڈ کونس بتائیں, اس کے بینیفٹس بتائیں, تو میرا نہیں خیال کہ کوئی بھی بندہ, کوئی بھی آدمی اس کو ریزسٹ کرے گا, کیونکہ اگر وہ اس کے بینیفٹ میں ہو. تو یہ میں نے کہا کہ آپ کو بتا دوں کہ یہ اب جو وی باک ہے وہ اب بہت بہتر شکل میں ہے, اور اب وہ پی ایس پاکستان سنگل ونڈو کی صورت میں ہے, جس میں کافی بہتری کی چیزیں ہوئی ہیں اس میں. سر یہ دیکھیں, اب انٹینشن بری نہیں ہے. آپ جو اتھارٹیز کا مطلب یہی ہوتا ہے کہ آپ چیزوں کو ریگولیٹ کریں. ایسے ہی نا اوگرا ہو گئی, پیمرا ہو گئی, پی پی آر اے ہو گئی. دیکھیں پی پی آر اے ہو سکتا ہے کافی ابھی بھی چیزیں اس میں بہتری کی گنجائش ہو, لیکن پی پی آر اے نے بہت ساری چیزوں کو بہتر بھی کیا ہے. ابھی بھی ہم جب بھی کوئی پروجیکٹ شروع کرتے ہیں تو ہم یہی کرتے ہیں کہ اس کا پراپر جو ہے پیپرا رولز کے تحت ہی کیا جائے. اور اس کی ٹرانسپیرنسی یہ ہے کہ اگر ہم فرض کریں اگر کوئی پروجیکٹ ہم انیشیٹ کرتے ہیں, اس کا ٹینڈر فلوٹ کرتے ہیں, اس کی بڈس آتی ہیں, اب وہ ہر چیز آپ نے پی پی آر اے کی ویب سائٹ پہ رکھنی ہے. ٹھیک ہے, آپ سب سے پہلے اپنا ٹینڈر رکھیں گے, اپنا جو ایڈورٹائزمنٹ ہے, اس کے بعد ایویلیوشن کمیٹی کے منٹس رکھیں گے, اور پھر جو کانٹریکٹ آپ نے ایوارڈ کیا ہے اس میں وہ سارا آپ رکھیں گے کہ آپ نے کس بیسس پہ اس کو کانٹریکٹ ایوارڈ کیا ہے، تاکہ جو باقی بڈرس ہیں ایٹ لیسٹ دے شوڈ نو کہ جناب اس بنیاد پہ اس کو کانٹریکٹ ایوارڈ کیا گیا. تو یہ ایسے نہیں ہے کہ یہ بہت ساری چیزیں صرف خرابی کے لیے ہیں، بہت ساری چیزوں نے آپ کے لیے بہتری بھی پیدا کی ہے اس میں. تھینک یو سو مچ.